And so, is there any hope for humanity? The only hope for humanity is to gather in the heart, to gather in the mind of God, beyond division, beyond fragmentation, to see through separation by resolving separation in the heart. There is no hope in a world that seems to be fragmented. There is no hope in a projected world of a mind that is rooted in separation and selfish gain. There is no hope for any being that hopes for something for the me. And so in that vein, there is no hope for a humanity that is hoping that it will get what it wants. This is not salvation. This is not the truth, and this is not the way. The only hope is to see through the desire for selfish gain and to meet in the one heart. It is to recognize that we are only in our true power when we are one, when we are together as one in the one heart. And our work here is to resolve everything in the one heart. We could say our mission in our human life is to resolve separation in the heart. No small feat. And yet we have our own small piece of the pie to resolve, transmute, and take care of. And so we could say it is the duty of a human life. It is the only true purpose of a human life to recognize the play of separation and to awaken to the true nature and to live the life knowing this truth and to resolve separation in the heart. And what that looks like practically, let's say, is to resolve your peace. Just as there is no peace in the world if there is no peace in the heart, there is no resolution of separation until you resolve separation in your heart, until you do your work to resolve separation in the heart. It is not about anyone else. Dare we say, there is no one else. You have created a projected world and you have created a cast of characters. And that cast of characters are so kindly offering and playing out parts so that we can each do the work that we are here to do. The work that we are here to do is to resolve separation in the heart, to recognize that we are not here to hope for things that are dead ends, that we are here to be the power, to be the action. To be the action is to receive our own karmic obscurations and resolve in the heart, to find our own accountability, to not be looking outside, because to look outside for resolution, to look outside for accountability is to be looking for the ego to get what it wants, what it thinks it wants in the story. There will never be any kind of resolution in the story. We have to be the truth that is truer than any story. We have to come to a place of depth in our own knowing where we have the power to meet everything that creates a disturbance in the mind and resolve it in the heart. This is the piece of the pie that we are here to deal with. Anything that collaborates with separation is not working for this truth. It is not working for this resolution. Now, if we are here for truth alone, we will move in any way that will bring the possibility of this resolution as a force for truth, as this truth, shining the light, being this love. And in this, it is not about speaking and voicing this on the surface as concept. It is about living this. And the living of this is to do the work. The living of this is to meet the moment and find the resolve in the heart of every single thread that feels like a disturbance in the mind. Anything, everything from the whole life. It is to meet every thread of blame, every thread of projection in your mind, and have the depth of presence to face your own mind, so that the resolution of separation, where the mind is creating division and fragmentation, can resolve in the heart. However much we imagine that we want some kind of resolution on the surface of life, it will never, ever create a true resolve in the heart, because resolution in the play is satisfaction for the me. It is just the ego moving in its patterns of protection and wanting for another being to be accountable, to be sorry, to concur with a story. That is not the truth. We have to go deeper. We have to get truer. We have to come to the depth of presence where we are not collaborating with story, where we are not collaborating with gossip and ideas and concepts, that we are actually the power that is meeting the presence in the presence. We are meeting everything that feels to be disturbance, so that we can resolve all that feels to be open-ended, discordant in the truth of the heart. That if we are looking for resolution in the world, then we are binding ourselves to the idea that someone else or something else will bring a contentment or a peace in our heart. That is not freedom. Freedom is to know the wholeness that we are and to move within our own inner landscape to find the freedom and resolve that does not ask anything of the world, anything of anyone else, because we know that true accountability is just to meet every single fiber of discordance in our own mind and dissolve it, resolve it in the heart, in the silence, in the stillness. And it is to know here that true resolve does not necessarily bring fantasy happy endings on the surface of life. It does not make the play the way the me might want the play to be. It does not mean that I feel seen, I feel heard, I have got what I want, I have received an apology, I have received what I want. All of that has to be dissolved into the truth of the heart. This is true freedom. And this is the freedom that knows we are not bound to anyone else doing their work. We're not bound to anyone else seeing the things the way that we see them, that we are only here to know the truth and resolve into the depth of oneness and wholeness of our own being, where the play does not matter. The play is irrelevant, that we are not hanging our hope upon the play changing, that we're not hanging our hope upon a different story. Because as long as we are hanging our hope upon a different story, or we are waiting for a being to see things our way, or to find some kind of meeting in the play, then we are giving power to separation, and we are looking for resolve outside of the truth of who we are. And so we are here to resolve this separation. It is so powerful to recognize how powerful we are in truth, how powerful we are when we are resting in the wide open heart, to discover how powerful we are, that we are not resting our hope upon anything of the world, that we give up hoping and we be the love, the life, the light, the truth, that we live this. And as long as we are living this, we are strong, we are powerful, being together in the one heart. There is no them and us. Anyone that is creating that kind of division, then that is their work. Do not see that division. Do not collaborate with that division. Find all the threads of discordance and dissolve them, and just find the love where there is no division, no fragmentation, no separation, and then love with all the power and might of your wide open heart. Love, 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 love. Shine the light in this moment, but do not need for anyone else to be anywhere other than where they are. Your freedom is not dependent upon anyone else. Your freedom is not even dependent upon whether the being that you are holding discordance with is still alive with a body. It does not even matter. Anything and everything that is discordant in your mind is just asking for the loving presence of your wide open heart and the knowing of the awakeness of who you are. It is all waiting for you to realize that intimacy is an intimacy with all of the discordant threads of your own mind, and that we only come to wholeness through meeting every single fiber of our own consciousness. And it is really, truly this refinement, this whole unfolding is so much about the willingness to keep resolving every storyline into the wide open heart of being, and to come to an intimacy with every being that we have ever had any interaction, and particularly the beings with whom we may feel any kind of discordance. What we start to discover is that the discordance with one being is usually the discordance with all beings, that it is usually one thread. And when we can find that thread and resolve it in the heart, the whole tapestry of my life starts to resolve and disappear. And we are blank canvas, right? We are empty. We are wholeness. We are love itself. And the meeting with every being is just in the wholeness of love. And this is where it does not matter what the play looks like, because in this intimacy with our own heart, we find such a love, such a wholeness. We find every being in our own heart. We find everything that we have ever known is right here in the oneness. There has never been any division. There has never been any separation. We discover in our own direct experience that there is only love, that everything that has ever played has only ever been love. But we cannot understand it conceptually. And if we hear this, when we are not ready to receive it through our own living truth, we may find a frustration and a discordance with hearing this, because we cannot understand with our mind, how can this all be love? The truth is that it is all love, but every being that is embodied, no one being is the embodiment of that love. No one being is the embodiment of the divine. We are all playing characters for each other. And it is a perfect play, a divine play. And yet it has absolutely no relevance. And so we will be played in all kinds of ways. And if we get stuck in the play, it is just to find, where are we stuck? What are we stuck on? And how can we resolve that deeper in the heart? How can we meet those feelings in the nervous system, in our own consciousness, and find those discordant patterns that are creating any kind of sense of disturbance and therefore mind activity? How can we find it and meet it with presence, with love? How can we allow that pattern of protection to open through all of its iterations of a life, all of the ways that it is presented in a myriad situations, in a myriad of relationships? How can we unravel the protection that has created the discordant appearance in the play and find the settling fully of the resonance in the heart, so that we discover that we are utterly free and we are not held captive by any story. We are not held captive by any kind of disturbance in consciousness. And then we are not waiting for the play to come around where we can have that conversation with another being. We're not waiting for an apology. We're not waiting for somebody to move in a way that feels that it will satisfy what we want the play to play like. We discover that we do not need that. And there is such freedom in the discovery that we do not need anything from anyone to resolve all of the disturbance of the mind through presence, through bringing it into the nervous system and meeting it. We can find our own freedom and wholeness. And it does not matter how the play is playing. It does not matter. It becomes completely and utterly irrelevant. We discover that all of life in its appearance has never been anything other than a projected illusion of our own protections. And if we have the courage, the willingness, the presence to meet all of the projections, we meet the protections that are underneath the projections, and we dissolve the protections. And in that, we do the work of eating the humble pie of our human life, and we do the work that we are here to do. We resolve separation into the heart, and we live this truth as a shining aliveness of truth. And it is this resonance of truth living on the surface that sends its reverberations and ripples out. It is our commitment to truth. It is our commitment to not collaborate with separation and story, to notice every moment that we feel a ripple of disturbance in our nervous system, every moment that we feel a charge, and to seek that charge and find its source in our own nervous system and resolve it before projection and story, before collaborating in conversations that are telling a story, repeating a story, trying to find someone wrong, trying to find really collaboration in story, trying to find it's the me trying to find collaboration and wanting really to be right. Like, am I right? Am I right about this? Now, if we really open to this possibility, we find the ways in the life that we can join in to a conversation, and we can speak about other beings, and where the subtlety of ego sense wants to find a rightness, wants to find a sameness and a connection in story and drama. But this is all the collaboration with separation. And so truth really, really wants to highlight the importance of not collaborating and coming to a depth of love and resolution in your own heart that includes all beings, that is vast enough, wide enough, open enough to include all beings, even beings that are stuck in them and us and stories, even beings that are stuck in stories of separation. It does not matter where anyone is. We just love and love and love and love and love, and we hold this truth. We hold this truth. We do not expect any being to be anything other, because what we know is that freedom, our freedom, does not depend upon anyone else. Our freedom, our wholeness, depends upon resolving all of the threads in our own heart. And here then, the meeting with any being is just in love, just in extraordinary love. The story becomes irrelevant. The play becomes irrelevant, because the union in the heart is all that there has ever been. The pure love, the divine love, the extraordinary love is just this shining love. It is the glory of divine wholeness. And this is all we are here for. We find that we are in utter union, utter oneness with beings, that there can still be a play on the surface, and it is just irrelevant, because the depth of love where we truly are one, has no story, has no relevance, has no power or aliveness. It is utterly, utterly irrelevant. The divine life, we are living in the one heart. We are living in utter togetherness, in love, in shining, glorious love, in the oneness, in the light, in the truth of who we are. And here, the knowing is that the truth is so bright, the truth is so wide, is so vast, that it includes every being. It does not matter what plays in the play. The play becomes so irrelevant. We realize that the play is just a tool to allow us to see, is the play an appearance of our projections? Is there discordance or upset with the play? Are we hoping for something different in our life? Are we hoping for something different for humanity? Or can we resolve the whole shebang in the heart of oneness and live in the Satya Loka, live the divine life, where it does not matter what is playing on the surface. It does not matter if the discordance is that you have an unresolved upset with a being that you have shared companionship with, and it does not matter if the discord on the surface of life is something as mighty as a war between different countries. It does not matter, because we resolve it all in the heart. We resolve everything, anything in the play that creates disturbance in the field, anything that cracks our heart open, however intense the storyline, we dissolve the story through the felt sense in our nervous system, and we resolve the whole illusion of separation into the heart, where we recognize there is no discord, there is only one, and that one is the divine, is God, is love, is the glory. That God's plan is to glorify God, that God's plan is for this divine to be known on the surface of life. God's plan is for us to see through the illusion of separation and glorify this truth, that salvation is not in the play of humanity, in the hopes for humanity, that salvation is in seeing through the illusion and knowing what life truly is, that life is eternal and that the light is ever shining. This is what we are here for. This is God's plan. So wherever we are in this whole unfolding, it is to meet the resonance of truth where you can feel what is being spoken. Meet where you feel discord with what is being spoken and find that resonance, right? This truth is being spoken again and again and again. This truth has been spoken again and again and again. This truth has been misunderstood, misrepresented, spoken about, gossiped about, and yet this truth continues to rest in truth, because it does not matter who gets it. It does not matter who understands it. It does not look for accord. It is not trying to be heard. It is not trying to make companionship in the play of the world. It does not matter if it has been misrepresented through filters of gossip, of anger, of discordance. It does not matter what stories are told. It does not matter, because truth is truth is truth is truth. And the knowing of this truth is about living of this truth. No one else needs to confirm you, give you permission. No one else needs to see things the way that you see. When you know the truth is life. The truth is God. Truth is the glory. It does not need for anyone to get it. It is already here shining, and it just shines and shines and shines and shines. It shines on. And as any being joins, the meeting is in the truth. The meeting is in the one heart. And then the glory is a celebration of the oneness. The meeting is just this love that does not have flavors. It is not a love that needs to act anything out on the surface. It does not love one more than another. How could it possibly? It just loves. It just loves. And so the invitation is to this love, the constant invitation that is shared here is to this love, to the openness of this truth, to fall into where you feel the resonance. There is only one. Only one. One has no second. There are no sides, no opposites, no different ways of seeing. All of that is the illusion, right? You can see it from all sides. Any side is an illusion. And wherever you are seeing from a side, wherever you have a point of view, it is to dissolve it through meeting the holding of your ego sense. Meet the holding patterns. Meet the resistance. Meet the need to be right. Meet the need of wanting the story to be different. See that there's resistance there. Meet the story in all of its subtlety in your nervous system until every single fiber has resolved in your heart. Because as it dissolves in your heart and you dissolve separation at the point that you have thought yourself to be, you are dissolving your protection and you are opening to freedom. You are opening to the freedom that you are longing for. The freedom that you are longing for is right here. The wholeness that you are, it is right here. And so in the play of the world, it takes as long as it takes to really receive what is being spoken. We receive what we have the capacity to receive. And even though there are words coming forward here, the words are silence. They are the silent truth resonating, and it is to feel where you feel the resonance, the aliveness, the power of what is being spoken here, where you feel the aliveness of your own nervous system is where you meet the consciousness that is attempting to connect in with its own purity. And in that, it will meet sometimes the patterns of discordance. You do not need anyone else. You do not need anyone else to collaborate with in order to be free. Freedom is freedom from your mind. Freedom is freedom of the heart. It's the resolution of separation in the heart through all of the mind's ideas and protections to discover that the one heart is one being, one truth, one love, one peace, one gorgeousness, and you are that. You have always been that. All beings belong to that. So drink in the resonance of this truth. Let it go deep. Stop the collaboration. Stop looking to be in conversation about other beings. It is a waste of time and a collaboration with separation. We are here for truth alone. Do not speak in hypocrisy. Do not speak that you are here for truth alone and all that is wanted is truth when there is a collaboration with separation. Be truer than any story that you gossip about. Be truer than anyone that you want to talk about. Be truer than rumors. Be truer than any way that your mind wants to be right or find some kind of shallow connection in story. Be truer than that. Be truer than any collaboration with separation. Do not talk about other beings unless it is in their presence, right? Talk only about who is present. Be the living embodiment of this heart. There is nothing to be gained in talking about. It is to be so aware where talking about is the ego's want to be right and to find collaboration. This is collaboration with separation. Be so aware of how easy it is to collaborate with separation and not celebrate the grace of every being, to not celebrate the oneness in the heart. Now there is power and strength in these words because truth is power. Truth is strong. It is stronger than any of the patterns in the field. We have to see that all conflict is an elaboration of the conflict in our own heart. And that conflict is what creates wars, right? When conflict escalates, it creates the appearance of mighty conflict. So meet conflict within. Find out where you are in conflict with anyone or anything and do the work. Let it take as long as it takes. Go through the measures that are required. Now let us say here, the measures that are required can be moving through conversations that try to resolve in the play. It can take moving through layers of the play until we are truly ready to meet. But make the moves that are necessary to take you to the next layer, to take you deeper, to see that story and collaboration with story is just a way of holding a position, just a way of holding a position of separation. And if you are truly committed to this, to living this truth, resolve the piece of the puzzle that you are here to solve. And the solving is not in the play. The solving is in your own heart. The solving does not need to look like making happy endings and fantasy stories on the surface of life. It is to find the resolution in your heart where the play no longer has any relevance. Because here, in the presence of now and the wide openness of heart, you are free, you are whole, you are love, and you are shining radiant as yourself. And here the knowing is there is no hope for humanity on the surface of life. It is only when humanity recognizes that meeting in the mind of God, we could say, also known as the one heart, is the only way is for separation to dissolve deeply enough through enough beings that the appearance starts to shift. And the appearance starts to shift when there are enough beings reverberating in this truth, when there are enough beings resonating and living this truth, then the reverberations are powerful enough to shift the minds of the beings that live in ignorance to clearer seeing. But we do not need to focus upon any sense of other, because there is no sense of other. It's not about working on the level of me and other. It's working on the level of oneness, that your resonance, your vibration, your frequency is so profoundly charged with divine truth, that you are a living beacon of this truth, and that you catch every moment, right? Every moment is an opportunity to fine tune. Every moment is an opportunity to catch how easy it is to go along with a story and to talk about. Now we are played the way that we are played. Nothing has been wrong. It's not about looking back to the past and having any kind of commentary upon anything. It is about the moment and such a depth of presence to recognize that the divine play is playing to bring this truth in all its shining glory to the surface of life. And that we have been played to be whatever we need to be in order to live this truth more clearly, more deeply, more fully, and to be a more subtle living transmission of this truth. It is only about now. It is only about love. It is only about this alive, fine resonance of truth, and where you feel the truth. What is happening in your nervous system? The nervous system is consciousness, and the resonance of the nervous system is the resonance of consciousness, attempting to come to oneness, attempting to fine-tune itself to a more subtle frequency. It is being drawn by its natural pull, magnetic pull to itself. And wherever it recognizes a finer frequency of itself, it opens to that finer frequency. And that finer frequency is your nervous system resonating with recognition, where the recognition says yes, recognizes truth, and is alive with its own presence. It is all about presence. This is the way. It is all about presence. It is about being here now, alive, awake, free, right now, and recognizing that the felt sense of being here is alive, awake, and the knowing of this is in the resonance of the nervous system recognizing itself resonating at a finer frequency than mind consciousness, resonating at a fine frequency, which is the truth. And here, such a magnetic pull into the finer and finer frequencies. Do not try to work out the play. Do not try to win at the game of life. Do not try to understand anyone or be understood. Do not try to create a sense of alignment on the level of needing to be seen or heard. Know yourself, see yourself, hear yourself. Come to such a depth of truth in your own heart that you do not need anything from the external, because you are resonating in a wholeness that is full and rich. And then the meetings on the surface, the companionships on the surface are just love meeting love, right? It's just a celebration. And it plays out the way, whatever way it needs to play out. If you have a problem with any relationship on the surface, then find out what is the grace of that. Where are you being invited deeper? You will notice that as the sharing comes forward here, every moment is an opportunity for the truth to land deeper, for you to hear a deeper version of the truth, to receive more deeply what you are ready to receive. And you will notice that you can hear it, you can hear it, you can hear it, you can hear it, and then suddenly you hear it. Because that hearing has stopped being the mind trying to understand, and the resonance has worn away the need to understand, and all of the subtle patternings for a deep receiving to happen in the fine, subtle perception of consciousness receiving itself. And you land in a recognition. This is holy, holy. It is holy to land in a deeper recognition. And here the resonance is finer. It takes as long as it takes in the play of life. But it is to know that we are being carried. We are being carried deeper and deeper and deeper into the oneness through the possibility of this truth to be known and to resonate and get to the surface of life. It is that the divine resonance is refining vehicles through the refinement to be able to resonate and carry this resonance to the surface of life. And as patternings of protection collapse, a deeper transmission can come through, a finer transmission, a more powerful transmission can get to the surface of life. And so it is all about the silence, all about the presence of this moment and the felt sense of being yourself. What is being spoken is the same simple teaching that is timeless, eternal. It is the invitation to know yourself. It is the invitation to follow every single thought back to the source and discover that there is only the self, one divine wholeness. Now, the way that it is shared is altered. It is altered to match the time in which it is shared. It is altered to make it relevant to how we live, where we live, and what we are ready for. The sharing is alive. Truth is alive. It is a living truth. It is a living truth. And the living truth is the timeless, eternal aliveness of life, expressing its eternal, timeless truth as a resonance. And that resonance expresses in whatever words, it communicates in whatever way is needed to get this truth to the surface of life. Let's say to get this truth to the ones that are ready to hear, the ones that have the capacity to receive, to meet in the oneness and receive the glory of this shining truth. The ones that have the sincerity, the readiness to receive the grace in openness. We are of the light. We are of the light. We are of love. We are of divine wholeness. Of that you can be sure. You will never understand with the mind. It is only when we come to the oneness of being, in the truth of the heart, that this alive resonance can be received and can be attuned to. The attunement is an ever finer tuning to the resonance, to the frequency of light. To know that we are of light, we have to open to the frequency of light. And the frequency of light is not able to be found in the mind because the mind frequency is denser. It can only recognize its own patterning in a limited context. So we have to open to the finer sense of being, to open to the finer, unlimited frequencies. So there is more spaciousness to receive the pure flow of consciousness and to unravel all that we are here to unravel, right? You cannot be beautiful. We cannot fit the puzzle piece that we are back into the wholeness, right? It's like we're a little unique piece of the puzzle, and our work in our human life is to fit the piece of the puzzle that we are. So we're always one with the whole puzzle, but in our humanness, we're like a piece of the puzzle. And our work to resolve separation is to fit the piece of the puzzle that you are back into the wholeness. Now, when the piece of the puzzle finds its place, right? You know what it feels like when you put that piece of the puzzle in. Now it's exactly the same feeling as when you are working on a puzzle and you fit that last piece in, right? Our work in our human life is to put the piece that we are into the whole puzzle. Now the whole puzzle is like everyone's puzzle is together as one picture, right? It's one symphony, one harmony. But we have a puzzle, and when we can place through subtle perception our puzzle piece right back in to the divine puzzle, we find our wholeness, the felt sense of being, living wholeness. We find our felt sense that there's only God, only the glory, only light. And it's like our life, the sense of the unique life has a sense of completion because it's one with divine life. It's completely one with divine life, and it's shining and it's radiant in the knowing. It isn't looking for any more pieces. It's not trying to solve anything. And so what we're speaking of here is that to fit the piece of the puzzle that you're here to work out into the divine puzzle, you have to fit your sense of my heart, my personal heart, into the infinite heart of the divine. So it's about resolving everything that seems to be my mind and the puzzle out there through coming into the heart. And your heart, your unique heart, your beautiful, tender, unique human heart has to find its wholeness in the divine plan through resolving your assignment in your human life of separation, by awakening out of separation and surrendering your sense of personal, my heart, my life, my trauma, my struggle, my dramas, my upsets, my needs, right? All of your discordance, you fit the piece of your heart in. As you open, you find that the piece of the puzzle fits perfectly. It always did, but your protections were stopping it, right? You can't find that absolute alignment, that felt sense of putting the last piece of the puzzle in. And that sense of completion, that sense of perfection, that sense of gorgeous beauty, until the protections that are acting like extra patterns that stop the divine alignment. So your perfect, beautiful heart has to find its fit in the oneness of the divine heart through resolving every way that your heart tries to find resolution in the external, through experiences, relationships, things, right? More. But it's not about more. It's about less, and bringing it all in. Perhaps you can feel here why it takes to be so one-pointed, because we have to come to a one-pointedness where we're so willing to resolve everything in and in and in. Now, in the play of a human life, this work can take years, right? It can take years, but it takes as long as it takes. And every time we dissolve some kind of discordance of the life, our heart is more clear and pure and free, and we are closer to the piece of the puzzle that we're here to resolve, falling fully in. Now, when the piece of the puzzle comes in, there's this jubilant, laughing celebration and the knowing of God. Now, there can be flavors of this before, of course, because as we're opening and opening, we can start to feel the aliveness, the vibration, the frequencies of divine light. We're opening, we can feel more of the true nature. And it's that that gives us the impetus to really be here for truth alone, to have such a strength and conviction. And in that strength and conviction of the knowing, in the purity of your own heart, the purity of heart brings us to a purity of truth where we are so willing to see our own cloudiness, where we're willing to see the ways that we can be played to reflect back to us what we could not see until it played, right? So everything plays the way that it plays so that we can see more clearly. All of us, right? All of us have this possibility. And it's in the willingness to, and the conviction for pure truth, to see through everything that we are being offered, to come deeper. And now this deepening, once we put the piece of the puzzle in, we're just here to shine. We're just here to love. We're just here to radiate as an emanation of this truth, that all sense of will is surrendered to divine will, to the whole flow of the divine unfolding. So where we are one, in the being, in the one heart, where you can feel the resonance of truth, it is just to align, attune exactly where you are, to give up all ideas, to give up all sense of needing to know, and to be here so fully, so present, resonating at the frequency of truth as you can, just to resonate in such a depth of presence, such an aliveness. Alive and present with your own nervous system, which is your own consciousness, where you feel the aliveness, you're feeling the aliveness of life, the aliveness of pure consciousness. And here, in this wide open field of awakeness, let go of all ideas of awakening, let go of all ideas of what awakening is, because it is so much more simple and yet so much more profound than what the mind has ever imagined. Awakeness is already awake. You never own it. You can have experiences, but as long as there is a me to talk about awakening, there is so much more to refine. We have to refine where we are no longer concerned about where we are, but we recognize that awakeness is awake, and our human life is about refinement. Human life is about opening to the finest frequency that we are able to subtly perceive in our own consciousness, our own nervous system, and to hear, receive life, and in the receiving of life, receive everything that we are here to resolve in the heart, that we are here to resolve it. Sometimes we speak of this as transmuting everything that is discordant, to allow the surfacing of anything that is hidden and unconscious, and filter it, sift it, alchemize it through our nervous system, so that it becomes food for the divine, nourishment for the divine. We alchemize it into bliss. We alchemize it into the felt sense of such a profound aliveness. And we come to be able to receive finer and finer frequencies of this aliveness, so that one, we are able to open to more of the truth of who we are and subtly receive the resonance, but also we are open to receive the denser frequencies of our own protections, dissolving and dismantling out of limitation into the unlimited, that we are a vehicle for that transmutation, that resolution of separation to happen, that our nervous system is constantly being refined in order to be able to transmute and resolve separation, so that we can bring this piece of the puzzle, that we are here to resolve in the heart, right into its perfect, attuned, aligned fit. Mm. Mm. And so here, we do not need anything from anyone. We recognize that accountability is about our own accountability. Responsibility is about our own responsibility. That there is no one else. It is about being accountable for our own projections, our own projected world, and being fully responsible for receiving all of the surfacing material and resolving it deep in the heart, in the source. And here we align with divine responsibility. We align with we align with the knowing of oneness. Now, when we align with the knowing of oneness, we align with divine responsibility. We align with the knowing that everything is an orchestration of the divine, and we are never moving by our own will. Now, we can be moving by our own discordant patterns of limitation. We can, and we are always being given the possibility to see our own patterns of limitation and to resolve. But we are blind until we see. We cannot see certain patterns until they play on the surface, right? So there is grace in the play, revealing the patterns so that we are able to see our own protections, see how those protections are being acted out. And then our divine responsibility is to see and resolve and to come deeper into a resolution, and to shine this living truth, to resolve it all in the one heart, right? That it's not about resolving it in the play. It's about resolving it in the heart, because as we resolve it in the heart, we realize that the play is completely irrelevant. It does not matter. It is just a tool to reflect to us what we could not see without that appearance. And yet, at the same time, there is this great glory where consciousness is dancing with itself. The glory is flowing. The more that we are aligned and resonating in this truth, the felt sense of what is being lived is just life living itself, just the glory celebrating itself in absolutely everything, right? There's not a sense of anything being wrong. There's not a sense of it being able to be any other way. There's a sense of just being in the moment. So in that, there's no projection, there's no blame. There's just the willingness to keep being with and to keep allowing what needs to move through all of its ways of expressing itself in order to open and open and open, to receive more deeply what we are here to receive and resolve. It's so profoundly beautiful, the lived experience of human life. In truth, it is so profoundly beautiful because it is the divine life. And if we are here, it does not matter what it feels like, but we are in the trajectory, the momentum to know this truth and to resolve everything in the heart. And as we are ready, we receive the grace of pointings that open us to go deeper. But of course, we are creating that. We are creating that in this moment so that we can resolve everything, everything in the heart. And the meeting is in the love. The meeting is not in the appearance. Even if it looks like that, the meeting is only ever in the oneness, in the love. And that sense is meeting yourself in the nervous system, in the consciousness, that you meet yourself. And the recognition is anything, everything, anyone is only known in the aliveness. It's only known in consciousness. It's only known in awareness. It's only known in the oneness. Without thought, what are you in this moment? Without thought, how are you? Without thought, what is here? Without ideas and concepts, what is here? Be here and be free. To recognize the sense of being here and the freedom that you are, it allows a smoother passage. It allows clearer seeing, a deeper listening to the finer, subtle rhythms of consciousness unfolding into itself, opening to itself, and this finer and finer resolution of everything into the heart, the resolution of separation. This is what we are here for. But the resolution of separation is the resolution in your own heart. You collapse all sense of separation and division, and discover that freedom is here. Freedom is the eternal truth, and it is known in the heart.